How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Sponge 5000, and let's get right into things by taking a look at right around the December 20th to 21st time frame, where we do have a possibility of a major winter storm impacting the Northeast just before we head into the Christmas time frame, where we do see an upper level low that's moving through the Midwest, and it's expected to eventually move towards the Northeast, where it's expected to rapidly intensify. We clearly see there's another trough just to the north of it as well, so that's certainly going to help enhance the instability right around the eastern portion of the United States, along with this ridge right here that's going to bring a strong southerly flow that's going to force the warm, moist environment to interact with this very cold Arctic environment that's just to the north of this low pressure system. So it's just a recipe for a low pressure system to go under bombogenesis here, where we do see a very impactful northeast snowstorm. We're seeing very heavy snowfall. The winds are certainly increasing with the millibar pressure this low at 978 millibars. That is easily capable of bringing anywhere between 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So you definitely need to take that into consideration as well if this storm system were to develop. And we do see that classical mid-latitude cyclone look, where we see the moisture on the northwestern side, we do see the dry slot on the southwestern portion, while we do see a pretty large squall line of thunder showers just to the east of this storm system, where the instability is at its peak. And we clearly see just bringing a ton of snowfall, not only to the interior northeast like we've been seeing in many of the past snowstorms over the past month, I'll say, but also in the coastal northeast cities, where we're seeing cities like Boston and New York City get involved with this as well. So if we were to take a look at the forecast hour, we clearly see that this is very far out. This is a very long range forecast, so you do need to take it with a huge grain of salt. However, like I mentioned in my past video, it seems like both of the computer models are coming towards some sort of consensus at right around the December 20th through the 22nd time frame of December. There is expected to be a jet stream dip, and I did say in my previous video that could enhance the possibility of a snowstorm developing by right around that time frame, because of course not only will the temperature be cold enough for snowfall, but it'll also enhance instability when we see a jet stream dip that significant. And it seems like both of the most reliable computer models are still leaning towards that idea that there will be some sort of jet stream dip, and at least as of right now they're bringing a snowstorm to the northeast. But again, these forecasts are certainly subject to changes. It's very far out, but I'll keep you guys updated. But we clearly see in the GFS model scenario, it does bring not one, but two snowstorms, in fact, with this jet stream dip, where we see the first one mainly impact the interior portions of the Northeast. This includes mostly central Pennsylvania, as well as the eastern portion of West Virginia and the western portion of regular Virginia and Maryland as well, where we see the snowfall mainly impact the interior northeast portions. But then a second snowstorm is expected to develop out of this cold pocket associated with this jet stream dip that would bring more snowfall to the coastal northeast cities, where we see Washington D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and even Boston get involved with accumulating snowfall in a scenario like this, as this would happen right around the December 23rd time frame. So pretty much just right on the doorstep of Christmas Eve, which could be exciting for a lot of you guys, because in some of these areas, like for example where I'm located at in New Jersey, it's been exactly 15 years since we last seen a white Christmas in northern New Jersey. So if this snowstorm were to happen, this will almost guarantee you'll see a white Christmas, but that still has yet to be seen. This is still very far out. Now, we could talk about the factors we need to pay close attention to determine the actual chance we could see a snowstorm in the Northeast by right around the December 20th through the 23rd time frame. So if we were to move back with what the GFS model is stating, like I've been saying, there is a higher possibility of a trough that's going to move through, bring colder temperatures throughout the Northeast by the time we approach the December 21st timeframe, which I believe could contribute to the possibility of a snowstorm. But let's move even further back. So let's begin where we're at right now. Of course, throughout the Northeast, you need to pay attention to heavy rainfall right up along the coast, as well as strong gusty winds associated with this trough, as well as accumulating snowfall right over the interior Northeast. So make sure to definitely pay close attention to that. And then we do see a ridge move in that should bring a strong northwesterly flow, enhance the lake effect snow, but eventually it should die out as ridging becomes too much. We do see an upper level trough bring some snowfall to the Midwest, but continuing to move even further than that. The big difference I see with the computer models is where they want to take this specific trough right here, because in the GFS model scenario, it expects the ridging to be a lot stronger throughout the western United States, and I believe that will contribute overall to a less likely chance of a snowstorm developing in a scenario like that. So let's take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly to give you guys a better idea of what I'm talking about. Look at the 126 hour mark. We see plenty of ridging. There is that small upper level low, but it's very weak right over the northern Midwest. But compare that to the European model. We see that this upper level low is a lot stronger. And I believe what that will eventually do is contribute to the temperatures being cooler than normal overall by the time we approach the next few days, because this trough will only enhance the northwesterly flow, and that'll only enhance the possibility of a weaker polar vortex when we see an upper level low that's much stronger compared to the GFS model. As we clearly see, this upper level low helps amplify the northwesterly flow for this trough and this jet stream to dip a lot further southward. So I believe that the key thing that could determine the possibility of a snowstorm by right around the Christmas time frame will be this upper level low, which won't come ashore probably until maybe the Saturday to Sunday time frame of this weekend. If it ends up being stronger than anticipated and we see the ridging weaker than anticipated, then that certainly will enhance the possibility of a weaker polar vortex and a significant jet stream dip occurring right around the Christmas time frame for a major snowstorm to occur. However, if we see it on the other end, like what the GFS model is currently forecasting, where the ridging is a lot stronger, this upper level low is almost non-existent, then it's going to be less likely, because this upper level low would then be too weak to bring a strong northerly flow to bring that Arctic air further southward and really amplify the jet stream dip by the time we approach Christmas time frame. So the chances become much more slim, although the GFS model still in a scenario like this does bring just enough cold air for 2 snowstorms to develop out of this. So it's not like if the GFS model scenario is completely correct, there's no chance of a snowstorm for the Northeast, because there's certainly still just as much of a possibility, almost as much as a possibility as the European model, but it does definitely reduce the chances, because it's just going to be, the cold air would just be at a limited at this point, and this upper level low would need to just carry a lot more cold air for a very prolonged period of time disconnected from the jet stream, which it's very hard when you're surrounded just by a strong ridging, as well as a strong southerly flow. And of course, the Atlantic Ocean will help warm up a lot of these upper level lows that are disconnected from the jet stream. So the key thing will be this upper level low by the time we approach this weekend. So we're definitely going to keep tabs on that. Yeah, like I said, we won't get a little bit more certainty of what will happen right around the December 20th to 22nd time frame until we know the exact status of this upper level low, which won't be known until the Sunday to Monday time frame going into this weekend. So I'll certainly keep you guys updated over the next few days regarding the possibility of a snowstorm in the Northeast. Now, let's say the GFS model was 100% correct when it comes to its snowfall forecast. This will still bring a ton of snowfall to the Northeast. But in a scenario like this, where the GFS model would be correct, it's still a little bit more or less likely to see snowfall in the GFS model scenario, because there's just a little bit too much ridging compared to the European model. But this still brings a ton of snowfalls to the interior Northeast. Of course, the coastal Northeast cities are still involved, where Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. are involved with heavy snowfall, anywhere between 3 to 6 inches of snowfall, while right around the Appalachian mountain ranges, it should be more like 6 to 10 and even over a foot of snowfall right around the Catskills. So this would be certainly major for a lot of these areas in the Northeast. So at least stay tuned for further updates, as I'll make sure to keep you guys updated regarding the status of this potential Christmas snowstorm. In terms of what the European model thinks regarding the snowfall accumulation forecast for this potential winter storm, this will bring a large area of well over a foot of snowfall to the interior Northeast. This extends into Virginia as well. Washington, D.C. will get involved with accumulating snowfall. New York City would be right on the border between experiencing anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of snowfall to maybe no snowfall at all. But Boston certainly receives accumulating snowfall right around 5 inches of snowfall, 5 to 8 inches of snowfall in the European model scenario. And I think your best bet for that possibility of a winter storm is in the European model scenario, because that does bring a much more significant jet stream dip. So that would enhance the possibility of enough cold air existing for the snowfall to be more expansive, as well as the instability to be there for that snowstorm to intensify. So I'll certainly keep you guys updated. Still very far out, but it's still certainly something you at least want to keep tabs on over the next few days. However, that's not the only snowstorm we're worried about throughout the United States. We do have, of course, this one that's expected to bring mainly heavy snowfall to the extreme higher elevations of Pennsylvania and upstate New York, where in those areas you could experience anywhere between 5 to 8 inches of snowfall. So definitely keep that in mind, while the wind should be quite gusty right up along the coast, where you should experience heavy rainfall, a flood risk right up along the coastal Northeast cities. Flash flooding, I wouldn't rule out, because we just see plenty of instability for a large area of precipitation to develop right up along the coast. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. And then moving forward with the forecast, the GFS model is expecting a small trough to move in right around the Saturday timeframe. Should bring a light area of 1 to 3 inches of snowfall to cities like Minneapolis, northern Wisconsin, extending into northern Michigan as well. So definitely be aware of that. It won't be necessarily anything major, but it's still something you want to keep in mind potentially for your Saturday into Sunday commute as well. In the European model scenario, it's a fairly similar forecast, still bringing snowfall to a lot of the same areas. So I do think that the certainty of snowfall in these areas is certainly higher, because with this much agreement between the computer models, if we were to take a look at what the GFS model would forecast when it comes to the amount of snowfall associated with this storm, it should be mainly an area of 1 to 3 inches of snowfall, maybe localized areas where it's more than that, maybe up to 5 to 8 inches in northern Wisconsin in the small areas, but mostly an area of 1 to 3 to 6 inches of snowfall for the most part. So Minneapolis, definitely keep that in mind. Now, that isn't the only snowstorm either. We do have another one that could be more impactful for the Midwest, which would be the same trough that would potentially create our next major winter storm. So we see that this does bring heavy snowfall right over Minneapolis into Omaha as well. Iowa is getting involved with snowfall in a scenario like this, as this would bring a pretty large area of potentially 5 to 8 inches of snowfall. Let's take a look at the snowfall accumulation forecast with that as well. We clearly see Minneapolis would experience 5 to 8 inches of snow. This extends into Iowa. Northern and central Nebraska could experience anywhere between 5 to 8 inches of snowfall in this. Now, there's still a lot of uncertainty with this forecast, with a forecast that far out. So I'll certainly keep you guys updated. If we were to take a look at the European models forecast regarding this potential snowstorm, so we do see it's let me go to the 12Z run. This is the long-term forecast. So we, in the European model scenario, interestingly, it doesn't necessarily it does bring that snow to the Midwest, but it's a lot further northward into South Dakota, into North Dakota as well, Minnesota. These are the areas. So like I said, there's still a decent amount of uncertainty regarding the possibility of snowfall between the computer models. Well, this is actually the upper level trough that was expecting to move northward into on the GFS model scenario, but this would move southward, which would bring heavy snowfall to a lot of the areas in the northern portions. That still has yet to be seen if this upper level low will move that far southward, but I'll keep you guys updated over the next few days. But that's it for now, guys, and I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content, and I hope you guys all have a great day.